Welcome to Brian Redgrave's review of Hell in a Cell 2020. Well, it's time for us to go to hell, I guess. And for the first time, I think in a long time, or maybe ever, we had 3 Hell in a Cell matches. And honestly, I normally don't like these pay-per-views because, you should have these matches when rivalry needs them. So I hate normally when they have Hell in a Cell matches in rivalries that don't even really need them. But they just need it because the pay-per-view's called that. But, believe it or not, all 3 matches that used to Hell in a Cell, it makes sense for all 3. So that's actually really, really good. We normally don't get that. We normally just get random matches inside the cell nowadays because of the pay-per-view. So, let's get started with Brian Redgrave's review of Hell in a Cell 2020. Let's get started with the review. So call me a little shocked, but the very first match of the night was Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso for the Universal title inside Hell in a Cell. Okay, I'm gonna stop that. In a I Quit match. So we haven't had an I Quit match in like 5 years. I think the last one might have been John Cena versus Rusev. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there could have been one after that. I don't remember. That's the last one I remember. And it's the first time it's inside Hell in a Cell, as long as I know, and I'm aware, but I'm pretty sure. So after giving us the Rocky IV ending at Clash of Champions, we got the rematch here, in which in Rocky IV, Drago lost, but I didn't think Roman was going to lose here, and he did not. Now, can I just say this match was very good? It honestly was a little bit back and forth, not as much as Clash of Champions, which Roman dominated most of the match. Here, you actually got a back and forth between both of them. But later on in the match, Roman started dogging his cousin. And boy, he really did. I like that ending. Jey Uso was KO. Roman threw out the ref. He was about to stop the match. Thank God for that. Because we didn't need a third year in a row of a Hell in a Cell stopping. These matches are no DQs. Like, why the referee's going to stop the match? It's no DQ, Hell in a Cell, and it's I Quit match. The rules are the match can't stop until the opponent says I quit. The ref was, I don't know. I think he doesn't know the rules very well. But that aside, honestly, this was a really good match. At one point, I thought it was going to play out just like Clash, because at one point, Jimmy came out and started doing the whole, "What are you doing, Us? What are you doing?" And Roman started crying that he didn't know who he was and all that. And I thought all that was excellent. I honestly thought all that was excellent. Roman tearing up and whatnot. And I don't know, I was a fan. And then at one point it almost seemed like, oh, Roman, he realizes what he's doing. He's going to go back with his cousins and team up again. Except that's not what happened. See, Jey wouldn't say I quit at any point in the match. He would not quit. He is not a quitter, damn it. So Roman actually got Jimmy into the submission hold while Jey was unconscious. Once Jey woke up, he decided to say, I quit, so he stopped hurting his brother. That protected Jey, which is actually kind of cool, and it, makes Roman a dominant heel. I honestly love this match. It gets the heavy metal horns, not it up, heavy metal horns. I honestly love this whole thing. Honestly, this might be one of the best storylines this whole year. Granted, there are other contenders out there, including Sasha and Bayley. And my friend Jordan thinks Randy and Drew, which I think that too has been a great rivalry, just a little too long at this point. But it gets the heavy metal horns because I loved it. Let's go, Roman. Let's see what's next for heel Roman. Next up was Jeff Hardy versus Elias. Before the match, Elias gave us another fantastic concert. Man, this guy is a rock legend. This guy is fantastic whenever he starts playing a song. The match was a little short, on the short side, but that's actually fine. The match, for what it was actually pretty good, pretty decent, pretty back and forth between both men. The match ended in a DQ with Jeff Hardy attacking Elias with his guitar after Elias attempted to use the guitar. So it ended in a DQ. Elias got the win because of that. I wish Elias would have got the pin. I wish Elias won. I want Elias, man, all the time. Give me Elias as a world champion. The man is amazing in the microphone. He's amazing with the guitar. He's not. Is he the best worker in the ring? Absolutely not. There are many people better than him, but he is good enough that I think he should be world champion one day. But the match was good, short and good. It gets enough for me. Like I said, it wasn't nothing, oh wow, out of this world, but it was a really solid match that, from two solid competitors. They're both really good. The Q finish, I could have gone without the Q finish, but I would rather Elias take the win through a DQ than Jeff Hardy just plain old winning. Because, we don't need nothing that obvious. So, in any way, it extends the feud a little longer. I hope Elias comes out on top in the overall of this whole feud. It gets an up for me. If I'm being honest, this match was kind of boring. Nothing special. This is something you will watch in, like, I don't know, Raw, SmackDown, maybe even main event. And if I were just going to rank the match, I would honestly give the match a down. It really wasn't that great. I could have done with it. This could have been the bathroom break had it not been for the ending. This match gets saved because of its ending. It's one of those where the ending was good that kind of saves the match. So it ended with Chucky attacking Otis. After Morrison got sent to the back, Otis he went to to the ropes, and Chucky hit him with the briefcase. And that led to the Miz pinning Otis and getting the 1, 2, 3. And the match was the winner gets the Money in the Bank briefcase. So now we got Chucky versus Otis. They even brawled up to the match backstage. So we got Chucky versus Otis coming up, which should be an interesting feud. Chucky has, he has been in Otis' shadow this whole time, and it actually makes sense for them to break up. And the Miz is your new Money in the Bank holder. I'm very happy about that. The Miz needs to be world champion again. He has been excellent these last couple years. Honestly, I love The Miz nowadays. When The Miz was champion back then, he wasn't ready for it, if you ask me. But The Miz has been ready for it for a couple of years now. I want to say a good 4 years at least. He's been ready for another world title. So the match is going to get enough because it's ending of Chucky betraying Otis, leading to Miz winning and becoming the new Money in the Bank, and then the brawl after the match backstage between Chucky and Otis. It all adds up to an up. It's one of those where the ending honestly saves the match. If that wasn't the ending, had this ended, normal way, normal fashion, it would have been an up down because the match really was not good. It was kind of boring. But I just love the ending so much. It gets an up barely, but it gets an up for me. Honestly, if the first Hell in a Cell match was great, this one was even better. And if you ask me, of the 3 Hell in a Cell matches, this was the best one. And this was the other storyline I said was really excellent that could combat that whole Jay Roman thing. And honestly, this has been building for months. You could even argue years since they backed out of this whole rivalry a couple years ago. And the match was hard-hitting. Weapons of all kinds, chairs, ladders, table, candlesticks, fire extinguishers. They used to sell as a weapon. Honestly, the match was excellent. Sasha Banks is your new SmackDown Women's Title champion, ending Bayley's reign of 380 days. Bayley had an amazing run with the title. Hopefully, Sasha has a great run with it. I hope she don't drop it next month like she always says to do. Honestly, Sasha is ready for a long title reign. And honestly, I hope this feud ain't over. This should not be a one and done. The Hell in a Cell worked perfectly for this rivalry, just like it did for Roman and Jey Uso. Just like it did for them. This was an excellent match, an excellent Hell in a Cell match. It had everything in it. And it ended with Sasha topping out Bayley with the boss statement, the bank statement. Sorry, I'm a little lost for words. But using the steel chair in Bayley's throat and kicking it at the same time, if you get what I'm saying. And she tapped out. Honestly, I loved it. It doesn't get enough. It gets another Heavy Metal Horns. The second Hell in a Cell match gets another Heavy Metal Horns because I loved it. Sasha, don't disappoint us with this title run. Don't get injured like you always do. And with the Mandalorian coming up and you having a role in there, this seems to be the boss's month of October. So honestly, I loved every minute of it. This was hard-hitting. I just loved it. And this should be the match you watch if you want one match to watch. Heavy Metal Horns. Honestly, then Bobby Lashley versus Slapjack. Jack got slapped for sure. It was a short, predictable, boring match that I did not care for. It was for the U.S. title. Bobby retained. I'm just trying to move through this quickly. Nothing special happened here. It ended pretty quickly. Slapjack tapped out to Bobby Lashley. Then Retribution came out, tried to attack Bobby. The Hurt Business came out. They retreated. They ran. Retribution has very fast lost all its steam. I have not really cared for the group since they started. The whole mask, the way they look. I was just not that big of a fan. And it's proving my point that they're just going down the drain faster than I thought. I thought they were going to last a little longer, but them running away from the Hurt Business. This whole rivalry has been straight up caca. I don't care for it. Heel versus heel rivalry is dumb, stupid, and honestly, them running away was like, huh? They still had the numbers game. I think there was like 5 of them still 5-4, even with the women. So I don't understand why they ran. Honestly, thumbs down. I didn't care for it. I don't care for this whole rivalry. Retribution has been letting me down. The Hurt Business are not the right opponents for them anyway. Who's going to win this whole thing? Like, does it even matter? Do you even care? If there was a bathroom break in this whole pay-per-view, this would have been it, because you didn't miss a good match and you didn't miss a very good ending either. So honestly, it gets it down, and let's just move on to the main event. So the last match, the main event, was Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton inside Hell in a Cell. That's the last time, I promise. I said that earlier, but I had to do it. I said you have to. And honestly, this was another solid, very good match in this eternal long rivalry that should have been over ages ago. But honestly, this was a very good match. I can't even argue that. It was a good Hell in a Cell. What I liked about this was that it played different to the other 2 Hell in a Cells. Honestly, Drew dominated very early on. He dominated most of the match. And Randy dominated for a little. Then it was back and forth. It went to the top of the cell. It was outside. It was inside the ring. Inside the ring, Drew McIntyre dominated Randy. And you could say outside the cell, Randy dominated Drew. You could pretty much argue that. And at one point, obviously, Randy kicked out of the Claymore, just so you know. But at one point, Randy actually dropped Drew McIntyre from not the top of the cell, but I want to say a little bit over the halfway point. I guess if you're not Mankind or Shane McMahon, nobody's willing to drop from all the way at the top of the cell. We've seen this spot before. And honestly, it's kind of predictable. I predicted the fact that they were going to go outside and somebody was going to drop with the announce table at the end somehow. It was a little predictable on that part. But honestly, this was a good match. Another good match in this rivalry. Hopefully, please, for the love of God, this rivalry is over now. Randy Orton is your new WWE champion. And can we just stop now? Honestly, I was a little bummed down because I wanted Drew to retain and hopefully have Drew McIntyre versus Roman next month. Even though we've had that match before, Drew's on a different level than he was back then. Honestly, his title reign ended. Randy's a 14-time world champion. The match is going to get enough. The match also had some bumps, and they used, steel steps and whatnot. Not as many weapons as the Bayley Sasha match, but a couple in here. Chairs and all that. It was a really good match, but honestly, of the 3 Hell in a Cell matches, if I had to rank all 3 Hell in a Cells, this would be third, the Roman be second, and the Sasha be first. That's how I would do it. But honestly, it was a really good, solid match, and I can't argue that. When Drew fell on the announce table from the halfway point of the cell, he was bleeding through his mouth, and it added to the injury angle. Even with that didn't take him out. He did hit Randy with a Claymore somehow, but eventually the RKO took him out. Honestly, Hell in a Cell 2020 was a very good pay-per-view. Honestly, all 3 Hell in a Cell matches delivered, all played differently. We had the I Quit match, then we had the one with Sasha, which used all the weapons, and then we had this one, which actually went to the outside of the ring. I like that all 3 played out very differently. The pay-per-view is going to get the heavy metal horns for awesome, because overall the pay-per-view was really good. All 3 Hell in a Cell matches were good. Jeff versus Elias was actually pretty good. Miz versus Otis was very forgettable and boring, but the ending saved it. And honestly, the only match that you could argue that was true, that not even the ending could save it, was Bobby versus Slapjack. My God, that stupid name. Honestly, that was a forgettable match. Probably the only true forgettable match. Like I said, Miz and Otis was a little boring, but that ending saved it. Big ending there. So honestly, this was a good pay-per-view. And thank you for watching. This has been Brian Redgrave. And, please like, share, subscribe, comment if you liked the video. Give me your thoughts. I honestly don't get a lot of comments. It's still a pretty recent channel, but when you do comment, I do read them and I do appreciate them. Like the video if you like. This has been the one and only Brian Redgrave. Thank you for watching. Redgrave out. Peace.